Okay. How was the holiday? Is everyone okay? Have a good time? Okay. Let's just talk about the end of the quarter. We're very much approaching toward the end. So today we're handing out homework 8. It's posted on the website. It's due in section a week from Thursday and Friday. Okay, so sections will be held on this last week. Okay? Well, this is a week. Homework 6 and 7 are due on Thursday. Thursday and Friday. And so this week will be the last week of new material. So we'll do material today. We'll do material on Thursday. And I think that's it in terms of new material. So in week 10, we won't do new material. This will all be review type stuff. So we'll probably do review type stuff on Tuesday, and we might do just fun things on Thursday. Okay? Depending. So if you have any questions, we graded your midterms. You'll get them back on the weekend. Sorry, on Thursday and Friday. If you have any questions about stuff that you really need to, the current material or stuff that you want to review for the earlier part, bring your questions for next week, and we can talk about it. Okay. So the midterms are finally graded. So can you see your scores on my.ucla? Okay. So people already asked me about. So what does that mean? So if you go to the website, so this is the course distributions. What you can see is this is how people did. So like some people, let's see. So some people got the highest was a 46, some people got 45s, etc. So this is the total grade distribution. So you can see how you did. So for example, if you got a 38, you're one of these people, you were in the top 10%. Okay, does that make sense? You see how to read this graph? Yeah, these are the problems. You should be able to tell where you are in this, but if you don't know, you can email me and I'll tell you your rank. Okay, your rank is over here. Okay, so people have asked me, what does this mean in terms of your letter grade? So remember, like in the very beginning of the class, I said that the top 30% roughly will get some sort of A, yeah? So the top 10% are all A plus. So I would say that these people in the top 10%, what's going on with that? Okay. Let's see if this works. I have a better issue here. We'll see. Okay. These people here, oh, it's not working. I'll use this. These are the top 10%, roughly, right? These people get A+. That's what I would interpret that as. Does it make sense? Okay. Roughly the next 10%. So in other words, if you got 38 or above, this is 38 out of a possible 48, you get, that would be considered an A+. Okay? The next group would be the straight up A's. That would be this group here. So if you got 35 to 38, I would consider that roughly an A. Okay? Does this make sense? Okay, so what I highlighted is our A's. Okay? This group up here would be A+, I would consider. It's just going by 10%, right? That's all it is. Okay, the next group would be from 80th percentile to the 70th. This group would be A minuses, roughly. Okay, so if you got a 34, between 34 and 35, yeah, probably, I would, of course, all these 34s I would consider an A's. Okay, does this make sense? Okay, so maybe this group would be like the B plus range. The next bunch, maybe around here. The next 10%. Does it make sense? Okay, so the median, I think, is around, the median score is 29 out of 48. It's a hard exam, okay? So if you got above the median is usually I consider right around a B minus, okay? All right, so I would consider like around this group, like the lowest 40% C plus type range, and the lowest 30% like C or lower. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so you can see how you did relative to everyone else. Any questions about that? So I don't assign letter grades to this. Of course, I assign the letter grades only at the very end when we do the whole thing together. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, just the interpretation. Okay. All right, so in this case, the median grade was roughly 29 out of 48. So it was a hard exam, but people did generally pretty well. Okay. Any questions about that? Yeah.
The median is
29.
Is C, right?
The median I would consider B minus. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I can't hear.
When you say that the top 10% will get an A, is that on the midterms? You were saying that
Yeah. I don't assign the letter grades here, but obviously people want to have some idea. So roughly speaking, the top 10% get an A+. That's on the midterm, yeah, of course. So at the end of the class, I do the same thing with the whole thing, right? 50% of the final times 20% of the midterm, the whole thing, and I do exactly the same thing, then I do this percentile thing. Yeah? Good question? Are you okay? Okay. Yeah.
Do you still do that thing where you like replace the midterm?
Yes.
letter with final?
Right. That will happen. So again, a lot of people have issues in terms of time for the midterm because it's relatively rushed. The final will be twice as long, but will have 2.5 amounts as much time. Right? There'll be 8 questions over 180 minutes. The midterm is 4 questions over 75 minutes. Okay, so usually people have plenty of time for the final. So, and the thing, you don't have to ask for that thing; we'll just automatically apply it. Okay, so if your percentage score on your final is higher than your midterm, we'll just switch it over. Okay. Any other questions about that? Okay. I mean, I would say that if you're in this, I would say like if you're, this for example, I would like consider people like, it's up to you really, but like in this range, I'll consider this pretty good. Like, so this means like this person got all of this question, all of problem 1 and then half of the other questions. I would consider that pretty reasonable. Okay. What I would consider is like, if you feel like you really don't understand something, that's when I would start to say we should work on it. So like, if you're kind of down here in this region here, like in this, there might be a question where you didn't really get any of them completely right or something like that. If you feel like you needed to learn something, let's just try to take care of it. Okay, again, earlier is better than later. So we're all around. I'm basically in my office every single day. I'm here for office hours. If you can't make those office hours, just email me and I'll be around. So let's just try to get it taken care of. So again, it's easier to get it taken care of now than later, just because at the end we just have a lot of people coming in. Okay, so if you have a question about something you don't feel like you understand, or maybe you just missed a lecture or whatever, let's just try to take care of it. Okay, and just let me know. You can talk to your TAs, talk to me, whatever. Okay. If you have questions about the grading, and we're all here, we do the best we can to grade it all the same way. So, for example, one TA grades the same question for everybody. So every exam is graded by the same way. Does that make sense? So there's no partiality. But obviously we can make mistakes. If you think there's been a mistake made in your grading, just talk to me. I mean, you can see I put the correct answers on the website. You can compare your answers to the website with the correct answers and see what you did wrong. If you think something's too harsh or too lenient, whatever, you can still ask. And then what I'll typically do is look at it, and then we'll also talk to the TA who graded it, so you can get an idea of how that person graded your exam relative to everyone else. Okay? Makes sense? Okay, so again, I'll just want to emphasize, if you feel like, the midterm is kind of like a diagnostic exercise. If you feel like there's something which is not revealed to have, you thought you understood, but you really didn't, let's try to fix that up. Okay? So we have some time. We have, almost 3 weeks before, like 2 weeks and a day before the final. So let's try, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so I guess you'll get your midterms on this section. Okay, all right? Okay. I'm sorry it was such a long delay for getting them back to you. Okay. Any questions? Any calendar type questions? Again, there's no new material in the 10th week. The homework A will do this. Today I assigned homework A. There'll be a homework 9, but that will not return to that's correct. If you want to prepare for the final, I would really suggest looking at the old finals, just like you did the old midterms. There's like many years of old finals, so you can just do that. Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay. If you have questions about what more material, again, we'll take the questions next week in class. So the homework given today will be the last homework which covers new material. Okay? All right. Any questions about the end of the quarter, how this is going to work? Okay? All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so this is the second to the last topic in this class. This is kind of a fun topic. This is understanding social change. So obviously we live in a time when there's large social change. Movements happen all the time. Okay, let's try to understand them. So this is a very typical example. It was a very important example historically. This is, does anybody know what this means? Do you know where Leipzig is? Yeah. It's in Eastern Germany, right? And so there were Monday demonstrations in 1989. And why was this important? Does anybody remember? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is sort of the beginning of the end of the East Germany. Okay, it was the beginning of the end of the fall of the Berlin Wall, and in some sense, the beginning of the end of the entire communist bloc. So it had huge, huge geopolitical implications, obviously. Okay. But what's interesting is that it really started just among a handful of people. So there was one church in Leipzig, which was known for kind of being a little bit anti-establishment or something. But what would happen is they would have Monday services, and after every service, maybe literally like 5 people who were like disaffected youth, skate punks, that kind of thing. They would just hang out after the church for a little bit and say, down with the GDR for like 2 seconds and then just leave. Okay? So they did that in the protection of the people living in the church. Okay, so as a result, they did this for years, and for many years it was just literally like 5, 10, 20 people. Okay? But it became kind of well known as this is the spot where you could at least protest something. Okay? So what ended up happening is so in 1989, we had this kind of pattern, okay, which is this. So September 25th, you had 6,500, which is already a huge number of people. That's a large group of people. But each week after that, it grew and grew and grew. And now November 6th, there's a ton of people, like 325,000 people. This is like a big chunk of the entire city. Maybe like 20% of the entire city was out there, okay, for these demonstrations after the Monday service. So what would happen is there'd be the church service, and then at the end, like 325,000 people would start walking around Leipzig. Okay, so what's going on here? So if you were trying to explain, this is obviously important. We're explaining, how did you go from 6,500 to 325,000, and eventually cause the fall of the Berlin Wall, in fact, the fall of the entire Eastern Bloc. Okay, how would I explain this? Like, why did it change? Yeah, exactly. So, one way to explain it is simply saying that maybe people changed their minds, right? At November 6th, all these 319,000 people said, okay, I didn't believe that GDR was bad before, but now I do. But that doesn't make sense, right? You don't change your mind so quickly, right? The better explanation, I think, is more reasonable, is that the people who came at the November 6th, they were all probably pretty much against the GDR. They were not happy with it. But earlier on, they were just a little scared, right? And what made them join later as opposed to earlier is that they had more assurance, right? They had more people around them, they felt other people. So it's kind of built something which built on itself. I told you that story about the guy in Taiwan who said, I have AIDS, right? And the point of that is that he's, what's the point of that? It makes it easier for the second person to do it, right? So having one person makes it easier for the second person, et cetera, et cetera. So those people who came on September 25th, they made it easier for the October 2nd people to join in, which in turn made it easier for the October 9th people to join in, et cetera, et cetera. Makes sense? So as it gets more popular, people feel it's safer. And safety was an issue. There was talk of a Chinese solution to this. They actually had like extra blood in the hospitals and all that. So there was the talk of Tiananmen Square kind of solution. People were worried that they would kill lots of people. Okay, so this is what happened. So there was a real worry. Okay, so this is a picture. This is in Leipzig. Okay. Have you ever been to a march of 325,000 people? Has anybody ever done that? Like, have you been to the Women's March, like, here in LA? It's really quite amazing. Like, I just encourage you to go just to see it, because you almost feel like you're a little like a mobile city or something like that. It's just an incredible experience just in terms of seeing how many people are all there at once. So I would just encourage you to do that sometime. Okay. Okay. This is October 7th. Okay, so one explanation is that people used to be happy with the regime, but in a matter of weeks they changed their minds. Okay, that is, they thought, I'm okay with the GDR, I'm okay with East Germany, whatever. But then, realize that no, I actually don't like this. That doesn't make sense because people don't change their mind that quickly, right? It's not like you suddenly change your mind about something as important as that. Okay, I think the more reasonable explanation is that they were unhappy for years. Okay, but only when enough people were out there did they feel safe enough to protest. They were scared figures. In other words, their deep motivations haven't changed. What changed was simply observing the people out there. Once you see 6,000 people out there, you think, well, they're not going to kill literally 6,000 of us, right? Maybe I can save enough for me. If there's just 20 of us, maybe they would shoot us all. But if it's 6,000, they're not going to kill us all. And then we all show up. And you think, some people are still, maybe they will kill 6,000. So they'll kill us 30,000 or 50,000. Okay? It's really hard to kill 300,000 people. Okay. Anyway, the idea is that the more people protested, the safer it became to protest until the regime fell. Okay. All right. How do we model this? Okay, we're trying to model this using whatever techniques. Okay, so what's the first thing you have to think about? Players, right? Who are the players? Yeah, the people who show up, right? Okay, so each person's a player, right? The next step is what? Yeah, show up or not. Your actions just show up or not. It's pretty simple, yeah? Okay, and what's the third thing? Payoffs. Okay, so the payoffs is, how are we going to model that? What do your payoffs depend on? Yeah, how many people there are. Okay, so you might think like, my payoffs are showing up by being negative if like only 4 or 5 people are out there. Well, if I only have 3 companions, but it might start to get positive once I realize that maybe 100,000 will be there, right? So my payoff for showing up depends on how many other people show up. Yeah, does that make sense? Okay, so that's the typical way we think about this. Okay, and the way we simplify it, we can think of it as this: for if only like 5 or 6 people show up, probably my payoff is negative. If 50 people show up, maybe it's still negative. Maybe 100 people show up, it's still negative. But then maybe 1,000 people show up, I'll definitely be there. Okay, so this is, instead of writing down all those payoff numbers, we'll do it in a much simpler way, which I kind of gave you the answer already. But let's think about this. The people who showed up early on, if I showed you this thing, whoa. How are the September 25th people different from the October 30th people? Like, or so in other words, or the people who just showed up for the first time on October 30th, how are they different from the people who showed up on September 25th? Yeah, they have kind of a higher threshold in some sense, right? The people who show up later, they need more assurance, right? So they're different. They're not quite as radical, right? They're not wearing, black leather and have mohawks and stuff. Rather, they're more like Birkenstock wearers or something like that. Okay, they're not quite as militant. They need more assurance. So what we'll think about that is a simple way, just like a threshold. So like we'll think of people having different thresholds for their actions. So if you're really, really super militant, you might go even if there's only 5 people out there. Okay. Or if you're like the guy in the Taiwan market, you're willing to do it all by yourself. Okay? But if you're not quite as militant, but still down with the whole protest, you might need 10 or 100 or 1,000 people out there. You see what I'm saying? So kind of the more conservative you are, the higher your threshold is. Does that make sense? Okay? If you're militant, you're like a low threshold person. Okay, so we'll talk, we call this therefore a threshold model. And it's due to these 2 people, Tom Schelling and Eric Granovetter. And Schelling was a Nobel Prize winner, and he passed away. Granovetter is a sociologist who's still alive. So this is a threshold model. So it'll be a kind of theoretic model. But we simplify payoffs a lot by simply saying a person will show up if they have at least a certain number. Okay? And that number is their threshold. Okay. So each person has a threshold. By that I mean a person revolts only if the total number of other people who revolt is greater than or equal to her threshold. So if my threshold is 6, I'm going to show up if at least 6 people are out there. Okay? 6 other people are out there, not including me. Okay? If my threshold is 1, it means I need 1 companion. If my threshold is 0, it means I'm only going to do it by myself. If my threshold is 65,000 billion, it means I never want to do it. Right? There's not enough people on Earth to make me want to do it. Okay? Does it make sense? So your higher your threshold, basically, the more assurance you need, which is also kind of the more conservative you are, or the more safety conscious you are. All right. So, for example, a person with threshold 1 will revolt if he sees one other person revolt. A person with threshold 0 is willing to jump in all by herself. A person with threshold 8 requires 8 sort of partners before going. Oh, we showed that video, right, of the dancing things. Right? So the first person is dancing that person has threshold 0 evident, and then the next person jumps in, that person had threshold 1, right? Because that only person only needed one of the partners. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so given people's thresholds, we have a game in which each person decides whether to revolt or not. Okay, then we can find Nash equilibrium of this game. So it's pretty straightforward. So let me do the simplest examples. Say we have two people, threshold, person 1 is threshold 0 and person 2 is threshold 1. We're going to make this little table. So what is this? In my first column here, this is your threshold. So it means this person is threshold 0, this person is threshold 1. And I'm going to put in here the initial state, which is kind of what we're going to assume they start out with. And then we'll see how that changes over time. Okay, does this make sense? So let me show you how this might work. Okay, so let's check. No. Is this okay? Okay, so let's check. Let's check if yn is a Nash equilibrium. So what does this mean? I'm going to stick the y and n in there. So the person with threshold 0, I'm going to say that person, they show up, the protest. Person with threshold 1 doesn't. Okay, we'll see if this kind of persists. Okay, so let's think about this. Okay, make this bigger. Okay, at time equals 1, remember, this person has a threshold 0, so this person is willing to go all by themselves. What does this person do at time equals 1? Huh? Yeah, they go, for sure. If you have threshold 0, you go. You don't need anybody else. How about this person? This person at threshold 1, has threshold 1. This person is willing to go if there's one other person out there joins. Okay? So this person wakes up, sees the television news. There was one person at this protest yesterday. Now does this person show up? Yeah, right, because this person saw that last time the threshold 0 person was there. Okay? So therefore now this person shows up. So that person turns over. That person goes from inaction to action. Okay? How about time equals 2? Now, what does this threshold 0 person do? Does this person, the threshold 2 person, sorry, the threshold 0 person show up? Yeah, this person always shows up. How about this person? Does this person have one other partner? Did this person? Yeah, one other. Yeah. Okay. How about time equals 3? What about this person? Yes? Oops. Assuming here. Okay, so what does this mean? Is this yn a Nash equilibrium? Remember the definition of a Nash equilibrium is a situation where no one wants to deviate. It's a situation from which each person is best responding to everyone else. So if we start with yn, is that a Nash equilibrium? Yeah, exactly. No, it's not. Yeah, because this person wants to deviate, right? This person wanted to deviate. Yeah? So the answer is yn is not a Nash equilibrium. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so yeah, yn is not a Nash equilibrium. You can put it in the table. Oh, what's going on here?
That's because if they have many other persons who show up, they would prefer to also show up.
Yes. Right. Oh. Okay. It's because, yeah, this person, given what the other person does, wants to change. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So yn is not a Nash equilibrium. Okay. Well, I'll break that and make a little note of that. Because the person 1 wants to deviate. Okay. Okay. How about, what if you start with both not revolting? That is NN. Is this a Nash equilibrium? Yes? Okay, let's think about it. Okay. If you were threshold 0, do you want to stay at N? No, right? You don't need any partners. You're just willing to go, right? So you're going to go like that. Okay. How about here? Well, your threshold 1, the way I've written it is, last time no one else showed up, right? So when are you going to show up? Are you going to show up this time if no one showed up last time? No, right? So this is it. Okay. It's capitalizing everything on me. Don't do that. I'm sorry. Why is it? I don't get it. I'll paste it from over here.
It's gonna do it again.
You think so? Yay, okay. That's not. It's like you learn how to use computers and then you have to sort of circumvent how they try to do. T is a time. T equals 1 means time.
Okay,
So this is initial states like t equals 0. It's kind of like what we suppose. And then we're just following it through time. That's what we're doing. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. So what we're saying is if we started with no one revolting, and time equals 1, the threshold 0 person would show up, because that person is willing to show up by themselves. The threshold 1 person doesn't show up because no one showed up. They looked at the news and no one was there last time, so they didn't have enough partners. How about time equals 2? Does the threshold 0 person show up now? Yes, they do. Now how about the threshold 1 person? Yeah, now they do because they saw the threshold 0 person on the news yesterday. Yeah? Makes sense? Yeah.
So it's saying that every single thing is dependent on what happened previously.
Yes, exactly. Right. So the idea is we're filling out each space based on what happened before. Exactly. Right.
isn't initial state and event 1 the same thing?
Is initial state of t equals 1? I guess you could think of it that way. I mean,
Then
I just thought of initial state as like t equals 0. That's like before the whole thing even starts. We're supposing that's what. Yeah.
I'm also thinking that t equals 1 is the same as 1 day after the first day.
You could. I mean, you could do it this way. I mean, do you want to do it? This would be like you could do it this way too if you want. You see what I'm saying? You could just make this t equals 1. That's fine with me. Yeah.
Then why did the person with threshold 0 deviate from their initial state?
They deviated because remember their rule is they participate as long as at least a certain number of people participated last time, whatever, right? Well, all they need is 0 people to participate last time, and in fact, 0 people did participate last time, and so they're willing to go. Okay. Make sense? You sound dubious. No?
It does. I guess it's just the events that are.
Well, okay, the way you know is the initial state is kind of like before anything. It's like we suppose. Okay. And then t equals 1 is like, I guess you can think of it as the next day. Yeah. Okay. Okay. How about here? Time equals 2. Now does the threshold 1 person show up? Yeah. Okay, now, so threshold 1 person didn't show up the first time because no one, at this time, no one has shown up before, right? But now person 1 says, hey, I saw in the news that there was a threshold 0 person there who was wearing, I don't know, a mohawk, all black, body armor, a cape or something. I don't know. So, okay, so that person now shows up. Okay. How about now in t equals 3? Now this person shows up, and this person shows up. Okay. So if we start with both not revolting, what ends up happening is the threshold 0 person shows up. Okay. And then once that happens, the threshold 1 person jumps in, and then they continue like that. Okay. So starting from a situation of no revolt, threshold 0 person will jump in alone, and then the threshold 1 person will follow. So is NN a Nash equilibrium? No, right? Because there's deviations from it. Okay. What is the only Nash equilibrium? I guess I just put it up there, right? Okay, YY, right? The only Nash equilibrium is YY. One way to think about it is because any situation where, in any Nash equilibrium, of course, the threshold 0 person will do it. Okay, it's for them, it's a dominant strategy to go. And once that's the case, person 1, the threshold 1 person will definitely go and do it too. Okay, so the only Nash equilibrium is YY when everyone does it. Okay. Okay, let's talk about this. Say we have 2 people, each with threshold 1. Okay, so say that neither revolts in the beginning. So each person wants 1 partner. Is this a Nash equilibrium, do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay, let's see. Okay, in time equals 1, this person says, I'm only going to go if there's one other person who came last time. Does this person see anybody who came last time? No, right? Is this person willing to go? No, they don't want to go. They need at least 1 partner. How about this person? No, similarly, right? And so they just get sort of stuck. Okay. Okay, so is NN a Nash equilibrium in this situation? Yes, it is. Okay, so each person kind of waits for the other. You've been in situations like this. You're thinking, well, I would have gone if you would have gone. Oh, you would have. I would have gone if you would have gone. Why didn't we go? Well, because we didn't get our act together. Okay. Yes.
So does t equals 1 mean one other person?
No. Just time period. T equals 1. This is like today, the day after tomorrow, the next day.
So whether or not they go depends on the other person.
Depends on what everyone else did the previous time. Okay.
So they're not going because the next day they don't see the other person go?
Right. Okay, so look. How about this one? Again, if we suppose that no one goes the first time, and day 1, sun rises, the threshold 0 person says, I'm there, I don't care if everyone else says. Okay, and the threshold 1 person says, well, no one showed up last time, so I'm not going to go. The next day, okay, threshold 0 person, of course, still goes. Threshold 1 person says, oh, I saw on the news that there was a person there, the threshold 0 person, so therefore that's enough for me, I'm going to go. So the next day, they go then as well. Okay. Okay. So again, we're now going to do the threshold 1 thing. If everyone is threshold 1, start initial states of no one going. Okay, this is a Nash equilibrium. Each person waits for the other. Okay. Say we start with this. Okay. Say that this person shows up, but this person doesn't. Okay, now what happens here? Okay. So this person, remember, needs one other person to show up to go. Okay. So this person showed up last time, but does this person go this time? Yes? No? Hold on. Remember, you care about the number of other people, not yourself. Okay? You look at what happened last time, look what everyone else did, and key off of that. Okay? This person needs one other person, other than themselves, to have gone last time. Did this person get that person? No, that person showed up and said, hey, where are all my people? No one's here, right? I don't want to be the only person here. I'm not going to show up next time. I was all by myself last time. Yeah? Okay, so this person says no. How about this person? Yeah, that person saw the news. Oh yeah, there was one other person there. I should have gone, so I'm going to go today. Okay. How about here? You can see this kind of thing, right? And you've actually maybe been in,
So the threshold is how many people are going, and then the initial state is if they go or they don't.
Okay. The threshold is, at any given time, you show up if the total number of other people is your threshold or greater. Okay? So for example, this person shows up because previously this person doesn't show up because previously, last time, 0 other people showed up. And the initial thing is just because we have to assume something in the beginning. Does that make sense? So initial thing is just like a supposition. And then we say, given that, what happens? Is that okay? All right. How about now, here, what happens here? This person goes, right, because they saw that, my friend was there. Now, how about this person? No, right, because that person showed up last time and none of the people did, right? So you have this kind of thing where they go back and forth. Does it make sense? Again, each time you're responding to what happened last time. You're responding to what the other people did last time. Okay? Okay? All right. So have you ever been in a situation like this? Kind of like, where were you yesterday? I was there. Where were you? I showed up because I thought you came last time. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay. All right, so this can happen. Is Yn a Nash equilibrium? This is a Nash equilibrium situation. No, right, because it changes, right? Starting with Yn, we move away from it. Yeah? Okay, so this is not a Nash equilibrium. What would be, so N was a Nash equilibrium. What would be another Nash equilibrium? Yy. Okay. Say we start with both revolting. Okay. Okay. So at time equals 1, last time, did another person show up last time? Yeah. Okay, so that person's 1 to go. How about this? Did another person show up last time? Yes, so everyone's happy. No change. Yy is an Nash equilibrium. Okay, so when we have two people with threshold 1. Okay. Another Nash equilibrium is YY. The total number of Nash equilibria are 2. There's one which they both don't revolt, and one which they both do. Okay. And this sort of makes sense. We can't tell whether revolt will happen, but at least if it happens, it'll be full or none. It's like all or nothing. Okay. It involves either everyone or no one. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Now this is interesting. What happens when we raise thresholds? Say we make a threshold 1 person and threshold 2. So but previously we had 2 people with threshold 1. Now this person gets a little conservative. You know, maybe they have a cold or it's raining or something. Or maybe they're just really scared. They heard a rumor that, you know, there's going to be machine guns at this thing or whatever. Okay, so say that we make this person with threshold 1. I'm sorry, threshold 2. When this person was threshold 1, was YY in Nash equilibrium? Yes. Okay, now let's see what happens when this threshold 2. Okay, now this case, what does the threshold 1 person do? They go, right? Because one person was there last time. How about the threshold 2 person, though? No. There was only one other person who went last time. They needed 2. Yeah? Okay, so they're going to drop out. Let me get one of these guys. Yeah, exactly. Does this make sense? The conservative person drops out. Now time equals 2, what happens? What happens to the threshold 1 person? Now they drop out. Okay, they were happy to have gone last time, but now they realize that their other partner left. Yeah? Last time, okay, they showed up and no one else was there, and you need one other person, so they're going to drop out. How about the threshold 2 person? Do they go? Do they drop out? Yeah? Okay, and now what happens here? No one shows up. Okay, does that make sense? In this case, NN is the only Nash equilibrium. Okay, yes?
Could you go over in equals 1y person for threshold 2 says no, or why they don't go?
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember, you go if last time the total number of other people is at least your threshold. Okay?
Oh, I see.
Right?
So is it because the first person had threshold 2?
No. It's just because there was only one other person who went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that person needed 2 other people. Another way to think about it is if you have threshold 2 and there's only 2 people in the world, you're never going to go, right? Because there's only one other person. So that's like having your threshold being like 20 billion or something like that. Yeah.
Can you explain the word right next to it?
Oh, this one here?
Why did we go?
Okay, so
Not that one. The one under.
this one here?
And look to the right.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so this person has threshold 2. They look at what happened last time, okay, which is here. Yeah? Last time, how many other people showed up? Just one other person, right? Make sense? Only this person showed up. So this person needs 2 other people to show up if they want to show up. But only one person showed up last time. Does that make sense? Yeah? How about this person? Let's do this person. Why does this person not show up? This person only needs one other person, right? But last time, how many other people showed up? Nobody, right? So that then this person is not satisfied. They don't have enough safety. So does it make sense? So again, at any given time, you look at who showed up, which other people showed up, and you have to make sure there are enough of them who showed up before you go. Is it okay? Yeah? Yes?
How do you tell which is the Nash equilibrium?
Well, okay, so what you can tell is you can just put it in here and see if there's any change, right? So in this case, just by looking at this picture, I realize that YY is not a Nash equilibrium, right? Because I have movement away from it. Okay. What would be the only, what would be the Nash equilibrium here? NN, right? Because, for example, when we're here in NN, right? There's no change going from t equals 2 to t equals 3,
Okay.
right? So NN here is the Nash equilibrium. In fact, I think it's the only Nash equilibrium. Okay. Does that make sense? Huh? Okay. So what's the point here? When this person we had 2 people with threshold 1, it is possible that YY is a Nash equilibrium, right? It is possible that revolt happens, but we made one person more conservative, and therefore we killed that off. Okay, that is, you raise a single person's threshold. Raising a single person's threshold slightly, just a little bit, can make revolt impossible. even starting from the best initial case, that is, even assume that we both start by everyone revolting. There is no Nash equilibrium in which revolt happens. Okay, so in other words, kind of,
So does the initial state not count as a natural equilibrium?
well, the way you tell if something is a Nash equilibrium is you put in the initial state and see if anything's changing. So in this case, y is not a Nash equilibrium because we changed from it. That's all. Yeah. Anyway, the point is simply, by making that threshold 1 person, this threshold 1 person, threshold 2 person, revolt is killed off. Okay, we cannot have revolt because this person never shows up and therefore this person falls away too. Does that make sense? This is kind of like the end of a party. The person who likes the party least leaves, then suddenly everyone leaves. You know what I'm talking about? It's kind of like this thing. Because once one person leaves, another person thinks, oh, do I really want to be here? And then there's like only 30% of people there, and then no one wants to be there anymore. Okay, it's kind of like that. Sometimes you can have 1% true. Okay. How about this? What happens when we lower thresholds? Okay, so when this person was a threshold 1, okay, is n in a Nash equilibrium when both people have threshold 1? Yes, right? Okay, but now we make this person have a threshold 0. Okay, now what does this person do? They'll show up, right? They're militants. They're going to show up all by themselves. Okay, how about this person? No, because no one showed up last time. Now about here. Yeah, this again, they look at what happened last time. This time equals 2, look at what happened t equals 1. Okay, well, 0 other people showed up, but that's okay because this person doesn't need anybody. Now how about this person? Now they show up because last time 1 person showed up, that's all that you need, they're happy, they show up. What happens if t equals 3? Everyone shows up. Okay, does this make sense? Okay, so what the point is, when this person was threshold 1, this was a Nash equilibrium, right? But if I make one person more militant, this is no longer a Nash equilibrium. In fact, we move only to YY. Does this make sense? Okay. So lowering a single person's threshold can guarantee revolt. When we have a person with threshold 0 and a person with threshold 1, revolt is guaranteed, even starting from nothing. Okay? Does this make sense? Okay. How about this? Sure. Oh.
Just lowering the threshold.
So yeah, geez. Right. Lowering a single person's threshold can make revolt guaranteed. Okay. Any questions? Okay, so now let's do a little more complicated stuff. Say we have these thresholds. Oops, did I do this? Okay, so we have a person with threshold 0, person with threshold 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, what happens? Say that we start the initial case if everyone's not revolting. Time equals 1, what happens? Well, the threshold 0 person revolts, right? Because that person doesn't need anything. Okay, that person's going to do all by themselves. Okay. These people don't revolt because they needed somebody. Time equals 2, what happens? Okay. Now this threshold 1 person saw that the threshold 0 person was it? This threshold 1 person saw that the threshold 0 person came last time, and that's enough for them. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like a domino effect. Okay. Time equals 3. Now the threshold 2 person sees that there were 2 people last time, and that's enough for them, etc., etc. Does it make sense? So as time goes forward, more people show up, which makes it easier for the next group to show up. Okay. Right. So this is, I think, the model of that first table I showed you in Leipzig, right? It's just kind of like first people show up are willing to go up by themselves, which makes it easier for the next people, etc. Each time you're getting people with higher thresholds, right? At each stage, you're getting the people who are just a little more conservative, okay, who need a little more support. As you're growing, you're making it easier for those sort of people in the bubble to kind of move into it. And as more people move into it, more people become on the bubble. You see what I'm saying? Yeah? And that's what's happening. Okay, this is the standard model of the situation. Okay. So again, here revolt, snowballs or domino effects or nothing. First militants revolt, then reform-minded people, etc. As more people revolt, increasingly conservative people revolt. This is pretty common. I think this is actually true. When you see social change, usually people are very being, they're very militant, they're very committed, they're willing to do it all by themselves. Then people who are slightly less committed, et cetera, et cetera. As more and more people get involved, okay, then it makes it easier for the next group to get involved. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. All right, so this is my thing. Say that my threshold 0 will do like a what-if exercise. Say that threshold 0 person turns into a threshold 1. Okay, do you see what I did? So that before that person was a 0. Whoops, jeez. All right. But now I made that person a 1. Okay. Now what happens? Okay. Well, now, before when we started with no one revolting, the threshold 0 person went in, right? Because that person didn't need partners. And then that caused the threshold 1 person to go in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, now I got rid of the threshold 0 person. That person became just a slightly more worried. Okay? Okay. Now when we start with all n's, is that an S equilibrium? It is. Okay, so this is interesting. It means that if you want to stop revolt, all you have to do is kind of intimidate the very few people. Okay? You can just intimidate the people at the very beginning, and they're not going to show up, which keeps this sort of snowball from happening. Okay? Makes sense. Okay, so it is possible for revolt to get stuck. No hardcore militants jump in, and hence revolt never gets started. So the conclusion of this model of, let me show you this. I put it in a spreadsheet. This is kind of fun. Can you see this? Okay, so these are my thresholds. Okay, and these are my initial things. Okay, so this is just what I had up here. Okay, so and time equals, so this is the initial thing. Time equals 1, the threshold 0 person goes in, then the next person, et cetera, et cetera. This is that snowball kind of situation. Yeah. Okay. What if I make this threshold 0 person a 1? What's going to happen? Boom. Isn't that cool? Because the threshold 0 person didn't go in, so no one goes in. Yeah? Okay. How about if I make this threshold 3 person like a 4? What's going to happen? This person gets like, yeah, it's going to go up to that person and then kind of stop. Yeah, exactly. See? Make sense? Yeah? Okay. Oops. This is interesting. What's the median, the mean threshold, the average threshold in society roughly? We have, around 5, right? There's a person with threshold 0, threshold 1, threshold 2, etc. So if I average all those numbers, it's roughly 5, okay? Now let's say, what if I have a world in which the average threshold is lower, like 2? Say everyone is threshold 2. Okay, everyone is threshold 2. Is this a more militant society than the first one? Well, in terms of the average threshold, it is, right? Before the average threshold was 5, basically people are kind of like, on average, sort of liberal, whatever, I don't know, okay? 0 to 10. Now everyone's kind of a pretty militant person, okay? Now the average threshold is 2, like, now before you had like, now the average, I don't know, the average person wears black if it doesn't wear body armor. I don't know. Okay. You see what I'm saying? On average, the society is much better. But which is better for revolt? The first one or the second one? The first one, right? The conclusion is that it sort of doesn't matter about the average level of militants in society. What matters more is the existence of some people who are very militant. You see what I'm saying? What you got to have in this model is those few threshold 0 people willing to do it all by themselves to get the whole thing started. Do you see what I'm saying? You can have a lot of people who are really fairly militant, but if they're not willing to do it by themselves, it will never get started. See what I'm saying? It's almost better to have some people who are super conservative and some people who are really militant, as long as you have the super militant people. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so if I go back to the original case, this society on average is much more conservative, but it has better chances for revolt. Okay. So this is the conclusion. Okay. Revolt depends crucially on low threshold people, especially zero threshold people in this model. The idea is that if you have a zero threshold person, you're going to take that first step away from no one doing anything. Okay? And just like that guy I told you holding the sign saying, I have AIDS in Taiwan. Okay? Or you can think of like Me Too movement, that the first person can make a big difference. Okay? All you need is really literally that first person to say, yes, I was sexually harassed, to make other people want to speak up. Another thing is a small change in thresholds can cause large social change. So when I can change somebody's threshold just by a little bit, and they can go from nothing to everything. Okay? And people say like Me Too and all these things, where did this come from? It's all out of nowhere. It's all kind of a big surprise. Well, it's exactly this kind of thing. Sometimes even small changes in people's preferences can change large social things, large social behavior. It's exactly this kind of thing. Okay. And finally, a society with some extremists or early adopters, that is zero threshold people, is more likely to revolt than a society in which the average thresholds are low, but there are no extremists. So under this model, and I think it's more or less true, social change depends a lot on people who really are on the line just by themselves. Okay? That is, people who are pretty motivated. It depends more on those people than on the average level of political sentiment. Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, kind of cool. All right. Any questions about that? Okay. Okay. Oh, so in my homework I'll ask this. Given thresholds, how do you find all Nash equilibria? Okay, let's look at this. So say my thresholds are 1, 2, 2, 4, 4. Is everyone not showing up? Is that a Nash equilibrium? Yeah, right, because the threshold one person, I'll pretend you can the threshold one person doesn't show, right, because no one else shows up, right? So no, this is a Nash equilibrium, no one wants to change. Okay, what would be another Nash equilibrium? Do you want to put all Y's in there? Ah, not again. Is that a Nash equilibrium? Yeah, just check. Okay, does this person goes as long as one other person goes? Does this person have more than one other partners? Yeah, similar to this person, this person. How about this person here? Does that person have 4 other partners who are going? Yes. Okay, so this is a Nash equilibrium too. Are there any other Nash equilibria? Which is?
Yes, no.
Let's try that one. Huh? Let's check that. Okay, so does this person want to change? No, right, they have one partner. Does this person want to change? They have 2 partners, they're okay. This person has 2 partners. How about this person? They don't want to change because there's only 3 others. Does it make sense? So here there's 3 possible Nash equilibria. They could get stuck with no participation. It could be that everyone participates and everyone's happy, but it's also possible they kind of get stuck in the middle. So in this case, these 3 people do it, but these people don't. Okay, these people kind of need each other, and they kind of get there together. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so if you're asked to find all Nash equilibria, you just kind of have to play around with it and see. Okay, you have to look at all possibilities. Okay. Oh, let's just think about it. Do I have to think about, like, you might say, how am I going to consider all these possibilities? How about this? Do I have to think, like, is this a Nash equilibrium? No, who'd want to change? The threshold one person, right? But another way to see this, right away, this is not a Nash equilibrium, right? Because there's never going to be a situation where a threshold one person goes, there's never going to be a situation where a threshold 2 person goes and a threshold 1 person doesn't, right? Because threshold 2 person is more conservative than threshold 1, right? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, this is never good. It's always going to be y, n, right? It's never going to be n, y, n, y, you know, right? See, so the only question is kind of when the y's stop. Hold on. I mean this one here?
1 y and then 4 n.
Oh, let's try that one. 1 y and 4 n's. Whoops. Is this an Nash equilibrium? Yes? Yeah, no? Yeah, exactly. This is not one, right? This is not enough because this person needs one other partner. Okay. Remember, the threshold is people other than you. Yeah, yeah. So this person needs one friend. Okay. So this is not an issue. Okay. How about this? Let's just check this. Is this an Nash equilibrium? No, right? Because yeah, this person doesn't have two friends. Right? This person needs two friends. Okay. How about? How about that? No, why is not? Why not? Yeah, this threshold for a person doesn't have four friends. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so again, you just have to try different possibilities. Note that if a person revolts, everyone with the same or lower threshold also revolts. In this case, there's three Nash. Okay. Okay. Big question 10. Is this our last big question? It might be. No, actually, there's one more big question next time. Why do fashions go in cycles? Okay. So, for example, I see people wearing, I don't know, I'm not really, well, here, I'll give you a thing. This is a graph of like various fashions. Shoulder pads were in the 30s and then went away in the 60s and they came back big time in the 80s. Have you ever seen like Glenn Close in a movie? She's wearing big shoulder pads. And they went away in the 2000s, but they're coming back. Okay. How about kitten heels? They're popular in the 60s, went away, now they're coming back again. Okay, this is, people always talk about this. Like there's literally cycles. Skirt sizes. They're, so the pencil skirt was big in the 1940s, like, you know, you can see old movies, you know, Cary Grant, women are wearing pencil skirts. They went away in the 60s, 60s. They came back in the 80s, and now they're coming back again. Okay. I don't know. High heels are pretty high again now. Like often you can see really high heels, but like in the 70s they were not that high. Things like that. Yeah. Why do fashions go in cycles? Trends.
People who set the trend.
So okay, who are the people who set the trends? Huh? Celebrities. Okay, so are they? Okay. Okay, so do they set the trends on purpose? Yeah, maybe? Yeah.
It's like the celebrities have like a threshold of 0.
Yeah, exactly, right. Maybe if you're a celebrity, you have like a threshold of 0. Exactly. Like you see yourself, I don't care because I have my own little crew, I can do whatever the heck I want, right? If I can make something happen, right? So if you're a celebrity, you're a trendsetter, you're not following anybody, that means your threshold is like low. Does that make sense? So it's like the first person who like, what's a recent trend?
Fanny packs.
Huh? Fanny packs. Oh. I remember when fanny packs. Fanny packs are coming back. Exactly. So I'm thinking, I'm just the kind of person who wears a fanny pack. I don't care. Okay. And then, okay, so like, yeah, so something has, for this trend to start, somebody has to be willing to kind of do it by themselves, essentially. Okay? All right, but then the question is, why would they ever go out of style? Why are we all wearing fanny packs right now? Yeah. Because of money, because they're expensive. Yeah. I mean, so?
Because most people have lower thresholds and less people start wearing them, they're going to follow.
Yeah. Go ahead. Somebody sit over here.
If we go to fashion with MCM,
Huh?
the company MCM made a better backpack.
What are you talking about?
You said, why would it go out of fashion?
Oh, if there's
This is like another
Company.
if there's a competing product, which is saying.
a competing product.
Oh, you mean no? People did not stop wearing fanny packs. I remember fanny packs first came out in like in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. My wife had a fanny pack. People did not stop wearing them because they were competitors. They just stopped wearing them because they thought this was ridiculous. I think. I mean, the thing she still has it. She can still wear it now. It works great. I mean, it's not. You know, she. I don't think I ever wear a thing. Do you remember members only jackets? You know what I'm talking about? What happened with those? You know, that's kind of the same era. It's like MC Hammer kind of stuff. You don't even know who that guy is? You don't know who that guy is? You don't remember MC Hammer? Parachute pants? You don't remember parachute? Okay, so part of it is. Okay, how about. Surely you remember the trend of like people wearing plastic shoes with holes in them? Crocs, exactly. Like that happened in your life, right? They're dying. They didn't die off? I thought they're coming back. Coming back ironically. I've seen lava lamps go up. So the first time when I saw lava lamps, they were actually people thought lava lamps are cool, and they went out of fashion. People, I'm buying this lava lamp ironically. You have a lamp. You're like in the second level of irony, you know, like I'm not, you know. Anyways. Okay, so we know. Okay, so a fashion starts with people with low thresholds, but at some point people stop doing it. Why do they stop doing it? Huh? Yeah, it's kind of like too many people have done this now, right? It's like there's a cool new club, not too many people know about it. I'm going to go there. All more people come. Then you think, who are all these people? They're wearing fanny packs. You know, makes sense. Then I want to leave. Do you see what I'm saying? So part of an element of fashion is like following a trend, but also at some point, if so many people are doing this, you actually want to stop. Make sense? Right? Because if you didn't do it, then we'd all be wearing Crocs and fanny packs and whatever. We all have, huh? Yeah. It's like you have a threshold at the top too. You see what I'm saying? Right? So you're only going to like, I don't know, get like a navel ring or something. If like I would not be the first person to get a navel ring, but if I say I have 5 friends, maybe I'll do it. But then I go see PTA moms with navel rings and thinking, and I go over Thanksgiving and see my grandmother with navel ring. Oh my God, you know, why am I doing this? You know? So okay, so you kind of, you see what I'm saying, right? So there's like, you want to do it if enough people do it, but if too many people, you stop. See what I'm saying? Okay, so what we'll talk about is, okay, so for your shoulder pads were fashion suicide, but they came back on the catwalks. How does this happen? Okay. The idea I have is here that one explanation is everyone gets interested in something. It's just kind of like people lose interest. Okay. But people adopt fashions at different times. There are early adopters and late adopters. Okay. Some people want to do things which are popular. Some people kind of like anti-popular. They want to do something which is cool. They want to show how they're different, right? Okay. All right. So the idea here is there's lower and upper thresholds. You're willing to do something if enough people do it, but if too many people do it, then you're out. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's look at that. Okay, so I have my Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so now let me make this bigger. Okay, so now I have a lower threshold and upper threshold. So my lower thresholds are the same as before. Upper thresholds are all put at 11, which here there's only 11 people. So 11 basically means that it never applies. Okay. So the idea here is I will do it if the total number of other people is at least my lower threshold, but less than or equal to my upper threshold. See what I'm saying? Okay. So now this is the case where there's like a protest. It starts with the lower threshold. The middle person goes in, and the next person goes in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Let's make this person have an upper threshold. What do you want to make this? 5? Let's see what happens. Boom. Oh, that's cool. What happened? Well, we had the thing that happens before, but now look, what happens here? This person drops out. Why did that person drop out? Too many people did it. Okay? They show up at the club and everyone's wearing a fanny pack and they think this is ridiculous. Okay? Because last time, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people showed up. That 6 is bigger than 5, so they're out. Yeah, because the upper threshold is 5. Does that make sense? Okay, so that person drops out. Okay? Now, the next time, why does this person drop out? Yeah, this kind of cascades. This person was only willing to do it if 7 others did it, right? Okay, that person saw 7 others did it last time, so that person did it. But now that first person dropped out, so now that person drops out too. See what I'm saying? Okay, now this person drops out because this person needs what? This person's threshold 6. This person drops out because only 5 other people did it last time, so that person drops out, right? So now only 5 people do it. But now, what happens this time now? Now the militant comes back in, okay? See what I'm saying? Let's do this. This is fun. Isn't it cool? Now the militant is only willing to do it if at most one other person does it, okay? Okay, this person will not be caught dead doing something which 2 other people do. Okay? They're totally fashion-forward people, okay? First they wear Crocs on the dance floor or whatever, I don't know. Okay, then another person wears it, then 2 people wear it, and then once 2 people wear it, that 2 is larger than 1, then this person drops out. Then this person drops out, and this person drops, then finally only this person's left, okay? But now that's few enough that this person goes back in again. See what I'm saying? Okay. So, to me, this is a very reasonable explanation of why fashions go in trends, right? You have a growth, but once it gets too popular, then kind of the upper threshold kicks in, people start falling off. Once people start falling off, then it becomes new and cool again. So, the explanation for fashions and an explanation for social change is sort of the same thing. Okay? It's all the same. Okay. All right. Any questions? Any things? Okay. I think this is great. I love this stuff. Okay. All right. Any questions? Do you want me to talk about the homework? You okay with the homework for this week? Did you guys look at it?
Yeah.
So the video thing was from Thanksgiving was okay too last week? Okay, okay. All right. Any questions? Yeah.
I was gonna ask, it seems like in a lot of evolutions, it's not really an upward threshold.
A lot of what?
Like it seems like in a lot of evolutions, it's not really an upward threshold.
Yeah, I guess if you believe there was no upper threshold, you would not see trends. I mean, cycles. Okay, I'll see you. Bye-bye.